Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Brother Kendall, how do you solar lampol make this look? I can't manila for a solar enterprise. For the Mungul and Yimbanko can get them to it.
Sumanu baro, Unjurunko, Ikonga Faleko, Namu Badabanta, Bila Blazola, and Yagambia Vino, Amira Solar Enter, Nasola Enterprise. Solar Nimbati can do, Kuran, Deda Sala, Aboros in Enamo, Kagis and Odila, Amira Solar Enter, Nasola Enter, Nasola Enterprise. Ah, Jaliwo, Solar can desato, yeah, Jaliman Fofina, O Solar can desato. Na enterprise, Sumanu baro, Unjurunko.
And consultative. Without much ado, we will go straight to the program, and we will start with a partnership statement by the representative of the American Bar Association Rule of Law Initiative. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Solicitor General, Legal Secretary, Mr. Tomasi, civil society partners, ICTJ, civil society members here from the Gambian Victims Organizations, members of the Ministry of Justice present. Good morning. It's very nice to be here. We're happy to co-organize this event together with the Ministry of Justice and in close partnership with civil society and the victims groups. My name is Ismini Zarifas. I'm a Senior Technical Advisor with the American Bar Association based in Uganda, and I support the work of the Gambia team and office here. This consultation is part of a rapid response project that we have been implementing for the past several months, together and in partnership with the Ministry of Justice. The aim primarily is to support the ministry in taking forward its justice and accountability mandate post-TRC. So this has been several months of a number of different activities that we've held together. We've provided technical assistance to the Ministry of Justice. We've also organized a couple of different events already under this project. One has been a practical training with the for the Ministry of Justice staff on international criminal law and international human rights law. We've also held a judicial colloquium together with the judiciary on similar topics in March. And this project is supported by the International Sites of Conscience, the International Coalition of the Sites of Conscience, and it's through their global initiative on transitional justice research. So the project complements a larger 5-year USAID-supported project aimed to support the justice institutions and civil society strengthening.
Recording in progress.
We're pleased to be convening this consultation to inform the eventual Victims' Bill on reparations. We'd like to thank the Ministry of Justice and the civil society organizations for their close collaboration in making this a reality. I'd also like to appreciate the enthusiasm of the expert facilitators and the presenters who agreed to take part in this event despite their busy schedules. The national consultation aims to bring together a wide cross-section of civil society and victims' organizations representing different groups and thematic areas, including groups working on SGBV and enforced disappearances, amongst others. The aim is to collect views on key aspects that should inform the Victims' Bill. The format, therefore, is interactive and participatory. Informative sessions on victim participation, the right to reparations, reparations programming, and forms of reparations will be complemented by special sessions on SGBV and enforced disappearances, as well as appreciating the harm, which will feature some victim testimony and the effects of the violations on them and their family members. The views and the recommendations from the group sessions will be included in the final report and will be submitted to the Ministry of Justice for consideration and preparation of the draft law. So I think with this, I'll close here, and just to say that I wish everyone a fruitful and engaging 3-day consultation. Thank you.
We're grateful for the support of the American Bar Association and our other partners, ICTJ, for the supporting these consultative processes. You recall last week we had the consultation on the TRC report, which was also supported by the American Bar Association and ICTJ. So thank you very much again. On that note, I'd like to, my honor to invite the Learned Solicitor General Legal Secretary to deliver the opening remarks for this consultation.
Good morning to the representative of the American Bar Association, the chairperson of the Victims Association, members of the Victims Association and groups here present, members of the media, members of the staff members of the Ministry of Justice, civil society organizations here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am indeed honored to be here this morning to represent the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mr. Dauda Jallow, who unfortunately is unable to be here this morning owing to other pressing state matters. And he has requested me to be here and deputize for him and read his statement to you. The consultations on the Victims' Bill, which is being organized by the Ministry of Justice in partnership with the American Bar Association, is indeed of paramount importance. For the Ministry of Justice, victims lie at the center of the transitional justice process. Without the victims, we do not have any need to talk about transitional justice. It is all about victims, a victim-centered approach, the welfare of victims, and victims' involvement and full participation. It is important, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that we recognize that the Gambia has signed and ratified several human rights agreements that contain obligations on states to ensure, secure, or guarantee the effective enjoyment of human rights within the scope of our jurisdiction. To ensure effective enjoyment of human rights, the state must take all necessary legislative and other measures to give effect to the rights guaranteed under such instruments. As a state, we therefore have a duty to respect human rights and ensuring that we do not do anything that would violate human rights, to protect persons from acts that would hinder enjoyment of their rights, provide adequate remedies and procedural measures to protect against human rights violations, as well as institute measures to investigate eventual violations. As a result of these obligations, we must prevent, investigate, and punish any violation of these rights, and where possible, attempt to restore the violated right and compensate the damage caused by the violation. Gambians and non-Gambians have been severely affected by the actions of the past regime. If we are to get over the past and build national unity and reconciliation, we have to make sure that people who have suffered gross human rights abuses are acknowledged by providing them with sufficient reparations. At all times, the state is mandated to protect, promote, and ensure the prevention of human rights violations. Our government, under the leadership of His Excellency, the President Adama Barrow, has not been remiss in this obligation, and as such, a Truth, Reconciliation, and Reparations Commission was established in 2017, as we all know by now, to investigate, uncover the truth, document the human rights abuses and violations committed to the past regime, and provide recommendations to the government. Now that the TRRC has established the truth and presented its report to the government, I believe it is time to pay up and make up for the reparations. The present government has accepted that it must deal with the things the previous government did and that it must therefore take responsibility for reparations. The TRRC Act gives the legal framework for the payment of reparations to victims, as it provides for government to grant reparations to victims under consideration of the evidence received or obtained in order to restore the human and civil dignity of victims. The Act further provides that the Commission must recommend to the President ways of assisting victims through individual and collective reparations given to them. Although a plan was rolled out by the TRRC and a percentage has already been paid to some of the victims, efforts are in place to continue from where the TRRC stopped. Through these consultations, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, initiated with the support of the American Bar Association, the Ministry of Justice hopes to collect information from different stakeholders, including and not limited to victims and survivors, their families, representatives of government and non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, traditional and faith-based organizations, policy and decision makers, academic institutions, and other stakeholders to prepare a reparations bill purposefully focused on the welfare of victims. This consultative workshop is going to be replicated throughout the country, and the information collected will help us further find out the harm that was suffered, find out what the needs and expectations of victims are, work out ways to identify and help victims meet their immediate needs, and make proposals for long-term measures for reparation and rehabilitation. Payment of reparation or compensation to families cannot in any way bring back the dead or adequately compensate for pain and suffering endured during the past regime. But we believe when made, it can improve life for victims of gross human rights violations and their dependents, restore their dignity, and ensure that these abuses do not reoccur. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the government, through the ministry, wishes to continue the effective participation and consultations of victims in the design of any program relevant to them, particularly the Victims' Reparations Bill. I therefore hope that the participants during these 3 days will develop a plan of reparations based on the principles of redress, restitution, rehabilitation, and restoration. We look forward, therefore, to your comments and recommendations. I therefore wish you very well in your deliberations over the next 2 days. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Mr. Tomasi, for that very insightful opening remarks, and especially for highlighting government's position on the issue of reparations and the importance that the government attaches to reparations, and also going at length to discuss government's views on the significance of reparations about rehabilitation, restitution, the R's. So thank you very much for that statement. With that being done, as Mr. Thomas has rightfully pointed out, the entire process is victim-centered. And it is therefore no surprise that today's keynote will be delivered by a representative of the Victim Center. And this, in a way, highlights government's view that this process, which is for the benefit of victims, should be led by victims. On that note, I wish to invite Mr. Sheriff Kijera to deliver the keynote address for this consultation.
Thank you, Ta. Good morning, Solicitor General, Ministry of Justice, representative of the American Bar Association, and representative of the ICTJ, members of the media fraternity, representatives of CSOs and victims-led organizations, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am honored and delighted to give the keynote address on this important CSO stakeholders consultation meeting to discuss and take note on the views and ideas of different stakeholders to come up with a very comprehensive and representative reparation bill. This dialogue that brought together all stakeholders in this important event could not have come at a more crucial time. Our country has emerged from 22 years of gruesome dictatorship that severely broken down the entire social fabric system. The atrocities that occurred during Yahya Jammeh's era of dictatorship are not a secret anymore. The government of the Gambia with the people have resolved to improve the country's human rights situation, its constitutional, legal, and institutional framework, as well as its strategies, policies, and programs in various governance areas in order to consolidate our democratic gains and align the entire governance architecture with justice, rule of law, and to end impunity. The TRRC is a critical part of peace building, provide reparation, reconciliation, and the consolidation of democracy in the new Gambia. We had the opportunity to hear from victims on how their rights were violated that led to their victimization and the lifelong consequences they continue to live with. We also heard from the families of the victims who did not survive to tell their own stories. I say all this because victims continue to suffer pain and trauma. The TRRC reparation program does not adequately address remedial pathways to cater for long-term medical assistance and psychosocial rehabilitation for victims. Financial compensation is not just enough. Long-term medical support and livelihood support is essential in the government's reparation program. Yusuf Ambai is an example. In this case, he continued to suffer and he needs continuous medical assistance, which cause of other victims that are in their need of medical assistance. So I hope the bill will factor all these challenges that the victims are facing. I wish to acknowledge the efforts of the TRRC in taking notable measures in developing a reparation policy, regulations and guidelines, as well as issuing interim reparations to different categories of victims. We commend government efforts in creating the conducive environment, the necessary support, and financial contribution towards the Victims Reparation Program. An initial contribution of $50 million was contributed to the Victims Reparation Program, and also the government have further pledged $150 million to support the reparation programs of the victims, which is what commendable. However, I must hasten to say that many victims felt that the measures taken by the TRRC were not comprehensive in nature. As a result, they are recommending a post-TRRC reparation committee that would be inclusive to take all victims on board. The role of civil society in transitional justice process is very essential to nurture a culture of human rights and rule of law. Dialogue is the key to clear misconceptions. The power of numbers is essential in national dialogue towards sustainable peace, justice, and reconciliation. There cannot be a progressive transitional justice policy for the country without serious consultation and meaningful local input. Therefore, civil society is the key to grassroots participation. The role of civil society is to advocate for better government support of victims and hold government accountable. However, transitional justice has often reduced conception of civil society to human rights NGOs and lacks a rigorous conceptualization of the role that civil society plays in transitional justice processes. The point of reference with civil society essentially mimicking gap filling or acting as intermediary between institutional mechanisms and citizens. Therefore, it is critical and essential that civil society is given a clear mandate and a voice in the monitoring of the implementation of the TRRC recommendations and reparation program. The Attorney General and the staff at the Ministry of Justice can be proud of their record in the progress registered in the milestone of our country's transitional justice project, as the government is working towards finalizing the white paper that would provide the roadmap for the implementation of the TRRC recommendations. We would like to raise some concerns as to whether CSO stakeholders meeting on the draft reparation bill would be representative and inclusive. We are happy to note that the ongoing discussions on the draft bill between the Ministry of Justice, CSOs, victims-led organizations, direct victims, as well as local and international partners is encouraging and in the right direction. However, we are suggesting that the government put in place a very proactive resource mobilization strategy for the reparation program. We are also suggesting that the president lead the process by setting up a presidential fund to cater for reparation for the entire victims community. Finally, I urge all stakeholders present here today to come up with ideas and views that would contribute to the development of a comprehensive and representative reparation bill. Finally, I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kijera, for that keynote address. And indeed, we're grateful for the recognition of the efforts that the ministry is making with regards to the elaboration of this bill, and also for encouraging the consultative process that is currently ongoing. So just to reiterate that we count on the feedback from you, which will assist the ministry in the drafting. I think that is something that has been stressed by the SG as well, and by Ismene, and also by Mr. Kijera. So thank you very much for that very insightful keynote address.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan, Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek. Loo lañ soxlaati rek. Maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi defee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw fii ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skin care mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skin care plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes you know fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi taas kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii. Love like fire. Bring my love, love.
Agada di.
Ke mbijan ro aga nyaade.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha code nyenje.
Okay. Korsan. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada di.
Mbijan ro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia jang.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia e bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale di.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.